People who watched the repair shop for years felt at ease, remembered good times, and enjoyed the quiet pleasure of fixing things. But there was something more going on behind the familiar tools and skilled hands. Nobody really understood, until now, how close Blades and Suzie Fletcher were becoming. This isn't about reports or talk, it's about being strong, knowing when to act, and having a relationship based on trust. Blades finally talks about Suzie Fletcher and tells everything for the first time ever. It was more than just a TV repair shop. The repair shop started out as a daily TV show. The idea was to show appreciation for craftsmanship and the stories that are hidden in old, broken things. Of course, it was clear from the start that this would never just be a TV show for the people behind the scenes. For many of the cast members and crew, the workshop turned into a safe haven, a steady, calming presence during personal storms and the inevitable ups and downs of life. Blades was one of the first people who really felt this change. His life was not easy. As a child, Jay went through a traumatic event that left him with scars that he took with him into adulthood. After that, there were times when they were homeless, times when they were having mental health problems, and times when it seemed impossible to find useful work. The repair shop didn't just give him money or a place to work, it gave his life meaning and a sense of belonging by giving him a part to play. He felt like his skills were respected and that his presence was important there. Jay would think about this quietly later. Change that is strong. It was relaxing to go to a place every day where the air smelled of wood and leather, and where broken things were brought in and fixed the next day. The objects came with stories, memories passed down through generations that were sometimes sad and sometimes happy. These stories gave the workshop a greater purpose than just fixing things. On a personal level, it was about healing, connecting, and getting better. While Jay found unexpected meaning in the rhythm of repair, someone else was about to walk through the barn doors. She brought with her a quiet story of loss and, without knowing it, the start of a bond that would shape both of their lives. Suzie's trip back to the UK. She was Suzie Fletcher when she got back to England. Wasn't just going home, she was beginning over. She had a life in the US that was full of love and deep pain. The sadness of her husband's death, and the loss of her identity that happened slowly over the course of their marriage. She has since talked about that time in public and admitted that she had lost confidence and turned into a very shy and quiet person. But something changed in 2016. The place where Suzie had tried to make a life for herself, she left. She came back, not to hide but to rebuild. It wasn't TV that brought her back, it was skill. Saddlery had always been her way of staying steady and in charge. She wasn't looking for a crowd. She went to work. When I joined the repair shop, I had to step into the unknown. Her answer was no, and she was even afraid of the cameras. But that's not what she found in that old barn. It was a group. It helped that her brother Steve was already on the team. Blades, a man she had never met, would offer something much stranger though. There is space, calm, steady space. Just don't ask any questions or make any judgments. In that place, she started to get better. Not all at once or in a big way, but while she was doing what she knew how to do best and being with people who didn't need her to change who she was. Even though Suzie came back to work, it was the people who slowly, it became more important, and no one more than Jay, who knew nothing about her past but automatically gave her the quiet space and patient company she needed the most. Motivation without the attention. Suzie Fletcher was quiet at the repair shop at first. Even though she didn't run the show, her presence was strong and had a calm, thoughtful vibe that people who were paying attention couldn't miss. She didn't talk much about what she'd been through because the cuts were still fresh, not because she was hiding something. Her pain was close to the surface, and shooting a TV show, with its bright lights, background noise, and constant movement, wasn't the best place to talk about grief. He didn't push, which Blades saw. He didn't look into it. Instead, he quietly put up a soft wall around her, not to keep her alone but to keep her safe. He showed support in a subtle way. No long talks or flashy moves to get people's attention, just being there, looking at them and pausing at the right time. The kind of calm care that told you to take your time. I see you. Jay often stayed close to her after the cameras stopped rolling and the workshop was quiet. He was never too close to bother her. When Suzie's face showed doubt or when the weight of her past threatened to show in her work, Jay would give her a small, knowing smile as a sign that she was doing great. Giving her compliments or pep talks wasn't meant to make her feel better about herself. Jay knew that sometimes the best way to help someone is to just be there for them and watch without judging or fixing them. He let Suzie be the best at what she did and never tried to make her work bigger for TV. It meant a lot that you respected them. In a business where moments are often staged or blown up to make a point, Jay's support was genuine, well thought out, measured, and without any expectations. He also wasn't acting based on idea. As a child, Jay was poor and had to deal with dyslexia, sadness, and a time when he had nowhere to live. He had to start over when he was homeless. Those events didn't just make him understanding. They gave him a skill that was almost natural to read beneath the surface, to feel pain that isn't being said, and to react with quiet care. He saw more in Suzie than just skill. He saw someone making it through, someone who showed up every day with quiet pride, no matter what she was carrying. That kind of strength doesn't yell, and Jay really admired it. No one had to do anything to get his help. Jay made room for Suzie to just be, without having to act or explain anything. She was able to live in peace in a world that often wants people to be vulnerable for everyone to see. That was healing in and of itself. Small things he did over and over again helped turn a part of the workshop into something more than just a TV stand. For Suzie, it turned into a place where she could start to heal in peace and at her own pace. Suzie felt safe for the first time in a long time, thanks to that quiet support that was never pushed or performed. That same feeling of safety would finally help her do something she had thought was impossible before: tell you about her past in your own words. The book she was scared to write. There was always Suze in the barn, which was comfortable for years. Much of the work that brought things and people back to life was done by a quiet force. It felt like enough for a long time when her hands spoke for her. But when she wasn't being filmed or working on the repair, there were parts of her story that were left alone. She didn't know how to talk about her painful feelings, grief, and sense of loss. It wasn't just about the death of her husband, though that was a turning point. It was everything that came after. The feeling of being alone, the fights inside, and the worry of showing too much. Suzie had kept it all inside for years, because she didn't know how to start letting it all out. Someone had suggested that they write a book before, but it felt too personal and raw. After that, she and Jay had a chat this morning where they talked about her life and her upcoming book. It was an open moment, and Jay, being Jay, didn't make a big deal out of encouraging her. He leaned in and said something simple instead. Says, "Come on, you can do this, and it will feel great." She thought about what was said. Jay wasn't giving advice from far away. He knew her and had seen how much she was carrying. He thought that writing might help her let go of some of it. He didn't try to push. He made me feel better. He didn't see the book as a product, but as a way to help her get in touch with parts of herself she had been hiding for too long. He was right too. Suzie later said that the writing process became surprisingly personal. It really went on and brought up a lot of memories I had shut down. "I'm very pleased and happy," she said. Thoughts on the event. Jay never asked to read her work. He never got in the way or tried to control the story. Instead, he showed up in smaller, more important ways, like by listening, quietly encouraging her and trusting her enough that she felt safe talking to him. There were times when the writing got too much for her. Memories that she thought were hidden for good came back to the. She knew she didn't have to go through it alone, so she kept going. The book turned into more than just a story of what happened. It helped her let go and gave her a chance to think about the worst parts of her life, and finally let them go. No, not with anger, but with understanding. It wasn't enough to fix everything. That's not how grief works. But it helped her get back in touch with herself in ways she didn't expect. Suze was slowly getting better, and this writing trip was just one part of it. But what really helped her heal was the safe place she found in the barn and the quiet support that was there for her. A place where she can break safely. Suzie had taken years to rebuild her life behind the camera before she started talking about her past in public. She let her work speak for a long time, but something more important was going on behind the scenes. Jay Blades was one of the first people to notice it. Suzie recently said something that not many people knew. In the US, she had been in a bad marriage for years. Even though she spoke slowly as usual, it was clear how hard what she'd been through was on her. "I lost all faith in myself," she said. "I became a very quiet and introverted person." She said she was a broken person when she got back to the UK after her husband died. A lot of people were surprised by that moment, but Jay and the other people who had worked with her knew how strong she had to be to get there. There was more to the repair shop than just work. It was a quiet way to stay alive. Suzie really meant it when she said it was a safe place. Jay never told her she had to talk before she was ready. His help didn't end when the video cut out. It really did matter most when no one else was around. It wasn't just the workbench or the craft that helped Suzie feel better when she said that the repair shop fixed her from the inside out. It was the people, and Jay and her brother Steve were very important to that. "Jay really helped me start having faith in myself." In a talk she said, "It wasn't one moment. There were 1,000 of them." The time and space she had to work at her own speed. The trust he had in her without having to say much, and the way he checked in without being too nosy. She was able to hold on to that idea. When she started writing her autobiography, it was another scary step toward taking back her story, to be upset and fit in with the case's age. Jay gave some quiet support. The barn gave her a safe place to be, but it didn't erase her past. It just changed how she dealt with it. She went from being quiet to expressing herself with Jay's help, not with a lot of fuss, but with a steady faith that she could do it her own way. He never claimed the honor. He's not like that. But Suzie has made it clear. During a tough time, Jay helped her get back on her feet and gave her time to rest so she could start getting herself back together. Along the way, their friendship grew. But as the repair shop became more well-known, Suzie and Jay were soon put in a different kind of spotlight, one they didn't see but couldn't avoid: public faces and private lives. As the repair shop became more famous, people started to notice the quiet, steady bond between Suzie Fletcher and J.B. Blades. This made people want to know more about them. Some people thought it looked like friendship. For some, it's something deeper, like a romantic or family connection. There was a lot of talk online, with comment sections and headlines trying to explain something that neither of them ever said in public. People in the room didn't see that this link had little to do with labels though. Love or performance didn't build. It was something deeper, slower, and more complicated that was based on understanding. Jay had been carrying his own anger for a long time. Growing up, he had a lot of problems with security. He's been open about his mental health problems and the stress of having to keep moving even though he was breaking down inside. The same Prince of Wales he was before. And the only way I know how to talk to people. But more recently, his personal life was in the news, when his ex-wife said in public that he was controlling and threatening. Claims that Jay has never directly and fully answered, but the weight of those claims hung in the air, giving people more reasons to think that he was controlling and coercive with his estranged wife. And maybe something changed in that quiet storm of close attention. As Suzie came to the barn, she was upset, confused, and trying to put herself back together after a long, hurtful relationship. Jay saw something in her. It's not just the quiet or being careful, it's also how hard it is to work while trying to stay alive. That well-known attempt hit home. But maybe he didn't just want to help her out of compassion. It's possible that Suzie's past showed Jay his own life as she worked through it.